Look at a map of the world. Now drop a pin on Egypt. A giant pyramid of stone rises out of the desert, older than almost anything you can name. It sits there like a mountain someone decided to make by hand. Now drop another pin far across the ocean in Mexico, and there it is again. A pyramid built by people who had never heard of Egypt, separated from it by an entire ocean and thousands of years. Keep going. Drop a pin on Sudan. Pyramids, hundreds of them, more than Egypt has. Drop one on Peru. Pyramids, some built in the same broad age as the Egyptian ones. Drop one on China. Pyramids hidden today as giant grassy hills. Drop one on Iraq. Stepped pyramid temples made from brick, even near what is now St. Louis. There is a colossal pyramid of earth with a base wider than the Great Pyramid of Giza. 6 continents, thousands of years. Civilizations that never met, never spoke, never traded, never shared blueprints, never shared gods, and never shared a single language. All reaching for the same impossible shape, a wide base, sloping sides, a top aimed at the sky. That pattern is so strange that people have filled it with wild answers. Aliens, lost super civilization, secret ancient teachers, some hidden message passed around the world before history began. But the truth is stranger than all of that because the real answer is not hiding in the stars under the sea or in a vanished empire. It is hiding inside the human brain. Inside our fears, inside our tools, inside the way human societies try to turn death, power, and the sky into something solid. So here is the question. Why did so many peoples who never once met all build the same impossible thing? Was it coincidence or is it something much deeper about us? Let us clear the exciting answer out of the way first because it is the one everyone reaches for: aliens, or a single lost civilization older than all the rest, sailing across oceans and handing out pyramid blueprints. It is a fun idea. It makes the world feel like a puzzle box with one secret key. But there is a problem. There is basically no real evidence for it. And the bigger problem is this: if one teacher had spread the design, the pyramids would look much more like copies. They would have the same purpose, measurements, building methods, and sacred meaning, but they do not. Egypt's pyramids were sealed royal tombs built to hide a dead king forever and send him into the afterlife. Many Mesoamerican pyramids were almost the opposite: open, climbable temple platforms with staircases, flat tops, and ceremonies in public view. Egypt used cut stone, Mesopotamia used mud brick, Peru used clay rubble and river stone, China used packed earth, North America used earth moved by hand, basket after basket. They are not copies, they are cousins, and that difference matters because copies point to one source, but cousins point to something deeper. A shared pressure, a shared problem, a shared human instinct finding different local answers to the same question. So, before we solve it, we need to feel the pattern properly, not as trivia, but as planet wide human behavior. Start in Egypt around 4,500 years ago. The Great Pyramid of Giza is not just big, it is absurdly big. More than 2 million blocks of stone, some weighing more than a car. A structure so huge and so precisely aligned that it still makes modern people stop and stare. For thousands of years, it was the tallest human made structure on earth. Now travel south into Sudan, into the ancient kingdom of Kush. Most people never learn this part, so let it land. Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt, over 200 of them, steeper, sharper, smaller, crowded into royal cemeteries like stone teeth rising from the desert. Same silhouette, different kingdom, different story. Now cross the planet to Peru. There sits Caral, one of the oldest cities in the Americas, with pyramid like platform mounds rising from the valley. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. Caral was being built in the same broad ancient world as Egypt's pyramids. Not because anyone sailed over with instructions, two groups of humans on opposite sides of Earth, both started building monumental pyramid forms. Keep going. Jump forward thousands of years to Mexico and Central America. The Maya, the Aztecs, the great city of Teotihuacan, where the Pyramid of the Sun rises like a man made mountain along a ceremonial avenue. These structures were not tombs in the Egyptian sense, they were stages for gods, priests, rituals, calendars, sacrifice, politics, and spectacle. Different purpose, same upward shape. Then China, where some emperors were buried under enormous flat topped earthen pyramids, many now softened by grass and time. Then Iraq, where Mesopotamian cities built ziggurats, stepped towers of brick that lifted temples above the city. Then North America, where Cahokia's monks mourned rose from the Mississippi landscape, a vast earth pyramid made without metal tools, wheels for hauling, or draft animals line them all up, and the pattern becomes hard to ignore. Oceans apart, millennia apart, no shared language, no shared gods, no shared blueprint, and still again and again the same answer rises from the ground. So, if it was not aliens, and it was not one secret teacher, what was it? The first part of the answer is almost disappointingly simple. It is not magic, it is physics. There is a tiny experiment you have probably done without realizing what it meant. Go to a beach, pick up a handful of dry sand, pour it slowly onto one spot. What shape forms? Not a tower, not a cube, not a perfect wall, a mound, a cone, a little pyramid. Try to build dry sand straight up like a pillar and it collapses. Pour it into a wide base that narrows as it rises and it stands. That is not culture, that is gravity voting. Now think like an ancient builder. You have no steel, no reinforced concrete, no cranes, no computer modeling. You have stone, earth, mud brick, timber, ropes, sledges, rams, and people. Many people you want to build the biggest, tallest, most permanent thing your society has ever seen. If you try to build straight up, the weight crushes the lower levels. The walls buckle, heavy material wants support, it wants mass below it, it wants the load to spread. So there is one brutally practical solution. Make the bottom wide, make every layer slightly smaller than the one below it. Let the whole structure lean on itself, let gravity press it down and inward instead of tearing it apart. In other words, if you are an ancient civilization with simple tools and heavy materials, the pyramid is not just a design choice, it is a shape that survives. You do not invent the pyramid the way you invent a logo, you discover it. The same way another builder on another continent discovers it, because the same physical world keeps giving the same answer. Scientists have a beautiful idea for this convergent evolution. It is what happens when unrelated things arrive at similar designs because they are solving similar problems. The eye did not appear only once and then get passed around. Eyes evolved many times because detecting light is such a useful problem to solve. Wings are the same, birds have wings, bats have wings, insects have wings. They are not copies, they are different answers shaped by the same pressure. How do you move through air? The pyramid is convergent evolution, but for culture, give unrelated societies the same goal gravity, heavy materials, and desire to build high. And they do not need to meet, they will walk toward the same shape because physics has already narrowed the options. But physics only explains the shape, it does not explain the obsession, it tells us why the monument became a pyramid. It does not tell us why humans wanted giant monuments in the first place. And that is where this stops being about stone and starts being about us. Because under nearly every pyramid building society, you find the same three human hungers. The first hunger is to touch the sky. Ancient people looked up and placed meaning above them. The gods were above, the heavens were above, the sun, moon, and stars were above. Mountains became sacred because they were where earth seemed to reach toward the divine. If you lived near mountains, you climbed them, prayed on them, buried people near them, and told stories about gods living there. But what if your land was flat? What if there was no mountain in the right place? What if your city needed its own sacred height? Then you built one. A pyramid is an artificial mountain. It is a human made horizon, a staircase for priests, kings, and gods, a way for ordinary earth to point upward. That is why so many pyramid forms are tied to temples, rituals, sun worship, stars, ancestors, and sacred geography. The shape says we are down here, but we are reaching up there. The second hunger is to defeat death. Every human being knows the same terrible fact. We vanish, our bodies fail, our names fade. Even powerful people, people who controlled armies and cities and fields of grain, still had to face the insult of disappearing like everyone else. For a king, that truth is unbearable. He ruled the world, and one day the world would continue without him. So he reached for the most permanent thing available stone, earth, scale. A pyramid says something simple and desperate. I was here, I mattered. My body may be gone, but this mountain will keep speaking. When my mouth cannot, long after my skin turns to dust, people will still look up and ask who I was. That is why pyramids are so often tied to burial, ancestors, dynasties, and memory. They are not only buildings, they are machines for refusing to be forgotten. The third hunger is power. Think about what it takes to build a pyramid. You need workers, not 10, not 50, thousands. You need food to feed them, roads or paths to move material, planners to measure, leaders to command, religious authority to justify it, organization to keep everyone moving in the same direction for years, sometimes decades. Nobody accidentally builds a pyramid. A pyramid is proof that a society can concentrate effort. It tells everyone who sees it that someone had enough authority to turn human time into stone. It says, look at what this kingdom can organize, look at what this ruler can command, look at what this city can make permanent. So the pyramid became the ultimate flex. It honored gods, it honored kings, it held the dead, but it also sent a political message so large nobody could miss it. We are powerful enough to build a mountain. Now put those three hungers together, reach the sky, outlast death, display power. What single object satisfies all three at once using nothing but heavy material, human muscle, and time? A giant artificial mountain, a pyramid. This is why the alien theory is less interesting than the human theory. Aliens make the pattern smaller, they turn pyramids into a trick someone showed us, but the human answer makes the pattern larger. Because it says the same shape appeared again and again, because the same creature kept facing the same world with the same fears. And this is where the mystery becomes a mirror. The strange part is not that Egyptians, Kushites, Maya, Mesopotamians, Chinese emperors, Andean builders, and North American mound builders all made pyramid forms. The strange part is that human beings are so deeply alike underneath different clothes, languages, gods, and calendars that when you scatter us across the planet, separate us by oceans, and give us thousands of years apart, we still reach for the same kind of answer. Not because anyone told us to, because that is what humans do when they want to make belief visible. We take fear and turn it into architecture. We take death and cover it with stone. We take power and make it tall enough to cast a shadow. We take the sky, which we cannot touch, and build toward it anyway. That is the real reason pyramids feel so haunting. They are not just ancient engineering, they are emotional engineering. They are the inside of a civilization turned outward, made so large that even strangers thousands of years later can still understand the feeling. And before you decide this is all ancient history, look up in any big city today because we never actually stopped. We changed the material, we changed the math, we changed the tools, but the instinct is still alive. We do not pile stone the same way anymore. We pile steel, glass, concrete, money, and national pride. Countries still compete to build the tallest towers on earth. Cities still use skylines as identity. Companies still put their names on buildings so large they become part of the horizon. Billionaires still build monuments that say, I was here. States still build towers that say, we are rising. And here is the detail that should make you smile. Look closely at many of the tallest buildings humans make today. They do not remain simple straight pillars all the way up. They taper, they step back, they narrow as they rise. Even with steel, wind tunnels, elevators, computers, and modern engineering, physics still whispers the same instruction it whispered 5,000 years ago: wide below, narrow above. We are still building pyramids, we just gave them windows. So the next time you see an ancient pyramid standing against the sky, do not think of it as a puzzle we cannot solve. Think of it as a message we finally understand, written by ordinary people on continent after continent who never met each other and still somehow said the same thing in stone. We were here, we mattered, we reached for something higher than ourselves. That is not a mystery, that is a family resemblance, and it belongs to all of us. Because everything has a why, even the shape a whole species reaches for again and again without ever being told. And now you know it. Before you go, one small thing. Videos like this take digging, real history, real evidence, real research, and I bring it together so you do not have to. So if this made the ancient world feel a little more human, the like button and subscribe button are right there. It costs you nothing, and it helps this channel more than you know. And one more thing. This whole channel runs on one question: why? Now tell me, which why should we pull apart next? Drop your question in the comments. And if you like finding the hidden reason behind everyday things, subscribe to the Why Factor.